Let's talk Jinx, a weekly Jinx video we do every Wednesday about anything to do with Jinx, as well as this video acting as a weekly discussion thread on the Jinx subreddit, our League of Jinx. Make sure to go check that out. And every 2 weeks when a new patch comes out, we talk about that patch, change to Jinx and other AD carries, and something of a pseudo AD carry tier list to round the video out. So without further ado, let's just jump into patch 9.18, which saw no direct changes to Jinx, but did see changes to other AD carries like Caitlyn, whose base attack damage is being increased by 2. And really quick as an aside, the reason why Riot will do changes like 2 or 3 AD as either a nerf or a buff is because even though on a full build or something like that, that won't necessarily make that much of a difference, it can affect things like, let's say, laning phase and last hitting, which gold and getting gold through last hitting is a very reliable way to get fed if you're not maybe getting a lot of kills and stuff like that. So we see this change to Caitlyn, and we also see this change to Jhin, and yeah, you might be like, oh, it's only just 2 AD, but if those champions can, for example, last hit better now because of that extra AD, when they go to get minions, they can now more reliably get gold, more reliably scale and get their items, and then maybe be more effective and come online a bit easier, and as such, that might be a way to buff champions. In case you were curious, like genuinely curious why they do those kinds of changes. If you weren't and you think it's a meme, then, you know, go for it, meme it up. Kai'Sa, meanwhile, the E bonus attack speed is being decreased later. And in terms of the matchup, let's say with Jinx in lane, I don't know, not even just Jinx, but period, how much this really changes all that much, especially because I don't think people max E, and the E's bonus attack speed at the first ranking is still the same. It's only down by 5 at the second ranking too, and by then you're going to be creeping towards level 9 and probably getting out of lane phase anyways. Granted, the changes to help not let her assassinate like everybody late game and have to focus a prime target, and also it's because Kai'Sa's so dominant in pro play that I think this change is happening as well. I don't really see this really affecting Kai'Sa too terribly much in the long run. Meanwhile, Misfortune change, where the E slows increased early, means that in laning phase against a Jinx or anybody, if you're playing Jinx into this champion and she has like a Zyra, Leona, something with some hard engage, this is going to slow and feel a lot better for the Misfortune to use with 1 rank into it, or 1 point into it, however the terminology you like to use. So that is something to watch out for. Misfortune might become more of a lane bully with her Q, especially already being a thing, with this also on top of it. With last but not least, with the Star Guardian skins coming, you knew a buff must have been coming to Xayah, except wait, it's a nerf actually. Its base armor decreased, and the R cooldown is being increased, because again, like Kai'Sa, Xayah at the highest level of play, right now she's kind of like risk-free. She's even first pick able to be as an AD carry. They want to hit her in some ways. Even with the skin coming out, they're like, hey, look, the skin looks great anyways. We can just do this, right? Because we're gearing towards Worlds, we're getting towards Worlds, and Riot wants to start wrangling in like the really loose ends to try and make as balanced of a game as they possibly can. So that's why, like I said, like Xayah and Kai'Sa off the top of my head don't have like the highest win rates out of the AD carry class if you look at a site like champion.gg, but in pro play they're so like super powerful, so it has to be done. Which in contrast, like Jinx in this analogy, she is pretty powerful right now, but she's not like blind picked in pro play powerful, so that's why you don't see maybe a nerf to her instead. Now to get to the part of the video you're here for, the AD carry tier list, in which case what we do here is we now take those changes and apply them to a site like champion.gg and try to predict what will and will not change going into this next patch to give you an idea what to pick. As usual, if you're, say, like you're Diamond, you're watching this video and you think the Xayah changes are going to be really huge, comment in the comment section down below your own tier list as well, and then we can kind of be like a community tier list. That's how these work. So, first and foremost, looking at just the standings, Jinx is one of the most powerful AD carries, and I want to clarify something I said in last week's video, in which case there was kind of some debate and discussion around what I meant because I didn't give enough context, and that's kind of my fault. When I was saying I think Jinx is powerful, partly or at least mostly because her lane counters are weak, I'm not saying that's the only reason Jinx is powerful right now. I do think she's good in the meta. I do think Jinx just by herself is quite powerful right now. What I meant by her lane counters being weak is that they're not just weak as lane counters against Jinx. I think some of those counters are just weak as champions. Like, you don't want to be playing them unless you main the champion. And even then, it's at that state where you question, do you play your main if you want to climb? That's what I kind of meant. So like a Lucian, for example, who is supposed to bully Jinx in lane, he's just like weak as an AD carry champion, not specifically as a Jinx counter. And I do acknowledge that Jinx is also just powerful right now as well. But I think I didn't make that clear, and I'm sorry, so I want to kind of clear that up. But going into this list, what we see then is, yes, if you're especially in like silver and below, you should be playing Jinx right now. They don't know how to close out games. You'll be able to scale even if you get behind, and that's a champion that can take over lower elos. Jinx is a powerful champion right now. We see things like Twitch too, who at least for me is my go-to pick if Jinx is picked away. He's like an old school Jinx counter pick, even if he's not necessarily the best counter pick to Jinx right now. Of course, Kai'Sa and Xayah, you would think in good hands would be pretty powerful. They're kind of middle of the tier, and they're getting nerfed because of pro play, not necessarily because they're super powerful in solo queue. Kog'Maw might be something people are sleeping on a little bit because he does kind of feel like he needs a lot of peel right now, like kind of he always does, but if he gets that and you can play Kog'Maw, he's apparently pretty good right now. His play percent is pretty low versus Jinx, which is why Jinx is in a scary state right now. She almost has a 10% play rate, meaning 1 in every 10 games you see Jinx, and she still has a win rate of 53+%. Now granted, you don't see a lot of complaint about Jinx because she has a lot of counters that you can do and play against her, so that's probably why she still hasn't been nerfed. And at this point, if they're gearing up for Worlds, and she's not actually being played in pro play despite how powerful she is in solo queue, they probably want to leave her in that state so that pro players might pick her up. Because she's also in this weird state where she's powerful, but pros still aren't playing her like literally at all. They're actually even playing Garen Yuumi, but not Jinx. So that's a weird one. Jinx is definitely a top tier to carry to play right now. I'm biasly speaking, but also unbiasedly speaking on that. But you do want to play things like Ashe, Miss Fortune, and Kog'Maw as well. Xayah and Kai'Sa are champions you pick if you're good at them, but they're kind of actually mid-tier despite the nerfs and despite pro play. And then things like Lucian, Kalista, and stuff are rounding out your bottom tier levels. So there you go. Thank you so much for watching this video, and make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Comment with your own tier list so we can have a discussion about both Jinx and AD carry as a role, period. But I don't know which video will be next because I can have a lot of kinks. So until this time, take care. GG, get jinxed. Thank you for watching, and enjoy pizza responsibly.